Hello, my spooky friends. It is Stacy. Do you like steampunk and zombies? Well, this beginner-friendly and affordable tutorial will help you combine the two using cotton, liquid latex, and just a few pieces of old jewelry. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's just go ahead and get into it. Beginning with the hat I found at Target that came with the goggles on it. I got it at the end of Halloween. I'm using metal and wood gears and securing those onto the hat by using some fabric glue. Now, fabric glue will not dry as quickly, so depending on how heavy, you may need to use push pins to keep things in place. I am using brackets and handles to be able to hold onto chains so I can work throughout the project and not have a dedicated chain, so it helps you move those around the hat. And I place some gears onto the front of the goggles as well. And here you can see the hat completed, where I went through and added a gold chain and a necklace to the back of it. I did find more gears and keys and elements for steampunk at Hobby Lobby than I did at Michael's. Moving on to the sculpting work, I'm using liquid latex and I go over this cast about 3 times. I'm also making sure that I place this up over into the forehead, although you see the blue lines that are up over the eyebrows to let me know where the hat ends as to how much detail to put in. But due to the way that liquid latex shrinks once it dries, give yourself a little extra room on the outer edges. Be sure that you're using sponges and brushes that you do not care about, because it will ruin them forever. And going in with a cotton padding, and I cover the eye and I tap in some more liquid latex to get rid of the edge. Using cotton, I go in and I build up the orbital bones around each eye, making sure to get that into place, and then going in with some more liquid latex. And I found that the best technique for liquid latex and cotton is to tap and glide that over the cotton so it doesn't pull up as you are working. Cotton and liquid latex is good for texture, and seeing how this is a rotting zombie, leaving the flesh dry, it will add good texture. But if you want something a little bit smoother, you can tap your finger or your tools into liquid latex and go through and smooth that out. Now, for the old jewelry that I had laying around, what I like to do is use this buffing antique gold. And I go in with just a little bit of product on my finger because it does not dry up as fast. And I'm taking this old clip-on earring and I'm rubbing that into all the grooves to get those covered, so you can feel as you move along the surface if you're getting that product into it, and it will dry fairly quickly, but use your finger, it won't dry as fast. And it cleans up pretty good with soap and water. I do the same thing with this watch facing, putting a little bit of product on my finger and rubbing that around till I get all the grooves and everything covered. Now, you can find Rub and Buff at Michael's. It is almost always available there, and these tubes do last for a long period of time. They do not dry out, so it's a good investment to pick that up. It saves you from having to shop for other things. So with these chains, I rub it through my finger and my thumb to make sure that it's coated. And you do want to let this dry for about an hour before you use it again, because it will transfer onto other things that you might be working on. And I place this in with some super glue, and I'm going in with some cotton and liquid latex and building up any gaps that are in between. This is going to keep it secure, and also going over the outer side and making sure I get some cotton and liquid latex over onto the edge, because you really want this to be secure when you release it from the cast. Now, if you don't have a cast, don't worry, you can absolutely build this up as you go. It just will take a little bit longer, but it's absolutely doable. And also, because this is not a complete face forming prosthetic, you can also use a styrofoam mannequin head. If you cover it in some wood glue, you can absolutely do and work and make several different prosthetics and have those ready to go and save yourself some time. With some more cotton and liquid latex, I began to build up the cheekbone area. Now I am using a lot of old jewelry today, so I build this up, and while the prosthetic is still wet, I go in and I place this old earring I found, and I place a negative space in so I know where to place that in later. And for my teeth today, I'm using teeth from older looks so I don't have to make them or paint them, and these are from a couple of looks. I did a Tooth Fairy look and a Texas Chainsaw Massacre look, so I popped those teeth out and set those off to the side, and I continue to build up the cotton and liquid latex for the cheekbone area. With some more cotton, I go in and place that up over the lip area, and I get that covered. The liquid latex from before is going to be tacky, so you'll see that the cotton will stick to it. And going in and placing some liquid latex over that top lip area so I can put these teeth into place. With it being wet, it will hold it until you can actually secure it a little bit more. But once I get my teeth into place, I go in with my sponge and I drip some more latex over the tip at the top of these and add some more cotton and liquid latex. For extra security, I go over with another piece of cotton and dab liquid latex into the mix, but if your latex dries and you're doing it the way I am, you can let it dry and you can use super glue or a glue stick to get those into place. And once I have a good layer of cotton and liquid latex, I go in with a tool and I push that cotton into the area of in between the teeth to give it that gum line look where the teeth are gone but you still have the gum line. And at this point, because my liquid latex and cotton is still pretty wet, I'm going in and putting some gears, building those up for dimension, and this is also going to be keeping me mindful about how far to put those bottom teeth in. My rule normally is I put 8 teeth at top, 10 at the bottom, because it makes that jawline look a little bit longer and drawn out. So that is a preference. That is up to you. You make your zombie look however you want it to look. But I go in and I place the teeth onto the bottom, making sure that the tip goes up to where my bottom lip sets, because I'm going to paint my own lips up under this prosthetic dark. And you see here that I go in with some more cotton and liquid latex for that bottom gum line area. Once I tap that liquid latex into place, again I go back in with my tool and I push that cotton and liquid latex up between the teeth to give it that gum look. And again, with more cotton and liquid latex, I go in and I continue to build up, because now I have protruding things on the face like the teeth. So I want all the levels to be even and some areas to be sunken in more than others, but that is up to you. It is design that you're going to have to figure out how you want yours to look. I am using an old earring that looks like a spring. I push that into the place where I created the negative space and I'm getting it glued into place. And then going back in with some cotton and liquid latex, I fill in the gap up underneath it, and this is also going to be the foundation to where I place these small screws. These small screws are going to be what I wrap my chains around. I did not want to glue chains on. I wanted more dimension and wanted them to look a little bit more free instead of stagnant. So I go in while everything is still wet and I take some glue to the other side that's not wet, so you can work in several different mediums as your liquid latex is drying. And I go ahead and build this cotton and liquid latex all the way up to the top, because you are going to want something other than the 3 layers of liquid latex that you place down for the foundation. And save all those little pieces, all those little strings. You can get some great looks with it, add texture. And for the idea up under the eye, I had some negative space and I wanted to have this idea of like a steampunk industrial look. So the keys for me represent pipes, but as you get closer, they're that old antique Victorian looking keys. So that is the reasoning for using the keys up under the eyes. And with a wooden gear, I have a screw on the inside of it, and this is the idea I was talking about, where I take the chain and I wrap it around, so it's going to give it more height and dimension and be a little bit more interesting than just a flat chain that was embedded into the skin. For the paint today, I'm using a mix of yellow and gray, something I used on my clicker look. If you'd like to see that, I'll have that linked into the description below. This is what I'm talking about. You can use leftover paint. This is a water paint. And my idea behind the actual coloring for this is because since I'm using golds and browns, the hat is brown, the jacket's brown, the background is a reddish brown. I wanted all that was inside of the sculpt, including the teeth, to pop out. So I'm leaving this color a little bit more pale and also a little bit more dry. It was a creative decision I decided to do based on the backstory that zombies are now being used for manual labor, and they are not walking around and eating, and they have flesh that has dried and decayed because they are no longer out in certain elements. People are keeping them around for different things, entertainment too. Even we seen it in The Walking Dead, where Negan had a bunch of zombies that were tied to a fence that had metal around their heads so they could not be killed. So that is the reasoning I went with this color scheme. And also I am using alcohol paints where I'm mixing gray, black, yellow, and green to tap in color and to give it a little bit more dimension. So I'm pushing the alcohol paint into the darkest parts and the texture that's sunken in to really make that lighter color pop off against it. But I did not want this zombie to be 100% with blood all over it, because it would hide some of the details and the work, and it would not let the gears and everything else stand out as much. But that is up to you, however you want your zombie to look. I kept it more on the steampunk human side of it than I did complete cyborg steampunk, but that is my reasoning. So I hope you enjoyed my backstory. That's one of the things I like about doing zombie looks, is because there are several different forms of decay and several different stages, so you can create several different kinds and it not look the same twice. For that mottled skin look, I'm going in with a piece of cotton, and I'm using my alcohol paints, and this gives me the opportunity to use up and not waste product, so I tap that in all over. And here it looks sitting with the hat. And it's time to release the sculpt, and going in with some regular flour, I go in and lift all the edges from the top, the side, and up underneath. Since those pieces are a little bit thinner, they are not going to pull as easy. You don't want to break them. So I'll go in and I make sure to push that flour up underneath. Now, when it comes to releasing from a cast, do not force it. It has weak areas in the design, and it's going to let you know where it wants to come up first. So keep that in mind and take your time working with it. I believe it took me about 10 minutes to get this off. So you're seeing the condensed version, but I was able to take and pull it completely. Once I got to the thicker part of the cotton batting, I was able to grip it and pull and release it. So when you go through and you do this, you do have some things that pop off because you've either glued or the latex didn't keep. So go ahead and make sure that you get a good coating of flour onto the top and to the inside so nothing sticks to itself, and go in with some super glue and just glue things back on. Since you have the paint, you'll have a void of where it was and you can see where to place it. I am using Mehron Skin Prep for this. I also took Vaseline and protected my eyebrows and my eyelashes. And with some water paint, I'm going in and making sure that my eye, my nose, and my lip are painted dark so it hides the features up underneath. And I go in and I press some black powder to set it. For my adhesive today, I'm using Spirit gum, and I place that all over my face, being mindful not to get it in the eyes, keep it away from the nose as much as possible, and do know that Spirit gum will remain tacky until you put something up over on top of it. It does not dry like liquid latex. And I go in and I place it around areas that I know are going to need a little bit more security, and I take my scalp, and I always like to put my prosthetics on from the bottom up to the top. And so I'm pressing in and holding it. It doesn't take long for it to set and hold, less than a minute. So I go through and I take and clip areas that I don't need, and I go through and secure those areas that did not get placed down with the first application. As most of you know, I have red hair, so I took some gold hairspray and I put that in onto my curls to give it more of a brassy look. And this product came from Spirit Halloween, so I do like their hairspray paints. Here is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial today. I hope you have fun if you tried it on your own. Please tag me in your looks. I would love to see what your steampunk zombie looks like. And if you like to save money while kicking it up a notch in your cosplay, Halloween, or special effects look, please consider subscribing. And I wanted to show you the back of the hat, and I was, having some really heavy Lon Chaney vibes going on. So once I turned around, I just immediately thought about London After Midnight. And a big thank you to my nephew who helped me because I was down to one eye. And to you all, thank you for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.